Yeah. Okay. So unique is also a constant. It's very simple. So let's say that I'm working with the same table, users. I have a column called user ID, then a column username, then a column status. So here, if you watch, I have defined unique not null for username. Okay, right? So when I insert values, user ID, username, status. Okay. See here, I did not define default here. Okay. So I'm providing the value here. Even if you provide define it as a default, still you can provide value, not an issue. So here is my data for this particular insert statement. I got 2 rows according to the data provided. Now let's see what happens. So I'm trying to insert a third row, okay, but this time I'm saying, okay, 1 2 3, that's unit like primary key, fine, but I'll try to use the same name as row number 1, alias, right? And remember, here we have a unique constant and a username. So when you define a unique constant on a username, if you try to insert a value in this column from the existing value, you will get an error saying that duplicate entry. So even after you run this insert, you get error and you still left out with only 2 rows, because this is rejected. Because see, again, you know, the unique index constant was defined on username only, right? Here you can have active, no problem. Here anyhow it's primary key, so you should have 1 2 3, right? So I can define unique constant on any column I want, but depending upon the business rules, right? So generally we don't use constants on username, because there might be students with the same name, or employees with the same name or not. But just for an example, I'm showing here, you know, how to use a unique constant. Okay. So the purpose is it ensures that all the values in a specific column are distinct, preventing a duplicate entries. Okay. Let's say that, you know, you have a table to maintain the classrooms in a school or a university, right? So every classroom has a name like 10A or like whatever, you know, it's a building number, you know, B01, 02, or in a hospital, you have a table to maintain rooms, you know, right? So every room has a name. Let's say that first floor 102 or 202. So in such scenarios, you don't want you know, the users to enter duplicate data. Like room number 202, it should be entered only once. You know, once I was working in a company where there was no unique constant or index defined on the room name column. So ultimately we had a duplicate data on the rooms. So like one of the transaction was using 202 defined like as a primary key 2, and then other transaction was using the same room but defined as a primary key 10, you know. So it's bad data, and you know, you'll end up in issues when you try to calculate basing upon the room names to say, okay, what happened with this primary key, how many booking I have, or how many transactions I have. So you know, you have to, like email address, you know, if you are asking users to sign up by their email ID, you should make sure that no other user can use the same email to sign up, you know, stuff like that. Okay. Supports multiple columns. You can have a unique index on multiple columns too. Okay. Example, you know, let's say that, you know, we have seen the example and alias only, right? So let's say that, you know, I want uniqueness across first and last name. So that is also possible. You have to mention these 2 columns in your unique index. So most databases allow null only once. Okay, then again, if you try to insert null second time for the unique constant, you might get error. Okay, so here is an example where, here let's see here. See, in the previous example we have mentioned unique not null here, but in this example I want to mention uniqueness on both first and last column. So I can't mention it here. That's why I have to mention it separately on a separate line after comma in the table definition. I'm saying unique with the combination of first and last name. Let's see here, Joe Smith, Jan Doe. I'm trying to insert. That should be fine, right? But again, as a third row, if I try to insert Joe Smith, I will get an error, because this was already inserted as part of primary key 1, right? So combination of these 2. So in some cases, you know, there are combination of 3 to 5 or 6 columns too, but again, it's going to degrade your performance. Okay. So this is what is unique index. Next we'll be looking at auto increment.